All right, welcome back to the deep dive. You guys really seem to be into animal speed, huh?
Yeah, it's a fascinating topic.
So this time we're going deep on the fastest animals on the planet. But we're going beyond just, a list of names.
Right.
We're going to really try to understand what makes these creatures so incredibly fast.
Absolutely.
We'll be looking at those awesome adaptations that allow them to move so quickly.
Yeah.
And we'll be using the awesome article you sent us about the top 10 fastest animals in the world.
Perfect.
I think one of the things that just really struck me is that, the concept of fastest can be pretty different depending on what we're talking about,
Definitely.
Like land versus air versus water.
Exactly. We're talking about completely different environments.
Right. So, the strategies for being fast are going to be really unique in each of those spaces.
Absolutely. The adaptations that make an animal fast on land might not help it much in the water.
Totally. So, right out of the gate, the article throws this crazy stat at us. The peregrine falcon can hit a speed of, 242 miles per hour.
Yeah, that's right.
Is that even real?
It is real, but there's a bit of a catch there.
Okay, I'm listening.
That incredible speed, it's only achieved during the falcon's hunting dive.
Oh, so it's not like they're just cruising around at that speed?
No.
That's still crazy fast, though.
Absolutely. It's called a stoop.
A stoop, okay.
Yeah, basically, they go into this, perfect aerodynamic form,
Oh, so they tuck in their wings?
Exactly, to reduce drag.
Wow.
And then they just plummet, straight down.
Like a feathered missile.
Exactly, like a missile locking onto its target. And that's why no other animal can even come close to that speed in a dive.
That's just insane. So moving on to land, we have the classic rivalry, right? The cheetah versus the pronghorn.
Yeah, the ultimate speed showdown.
So I always thought cheetahs were the undisputed champions on land.
They are incredibly fast.
But what about the pronghorn? What makes them so special in this race?
Well, with cheetahs, you're talking about pure acceleration. They can hit speeds of 70 to 75 miles per hour in just a few seconds.
Yeah, they're like lightning bolts.
Exactly. But that kind of speed comes at a cost.
Oh.
Yeah, they sacrifice stability.
I see.
So they're built for short bursts.
Hmm.
They're not going to chase something for miles.
Okay, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
They're like the drag racers of the savannah.
Right. Perfect analogy.
Yeah.
But pronghorns, now they are the marathon runners.
Okay.
They can cruise at a speed of 55 to 60 miles per hour.
Wow. And for a pretty long time, right?
Exactly. They're built for endurance. They can maintain those speeds over much longer distances than a cheetah.
So it's like comparing a sports car to an ultramarathon runner, huh?
Exactly. Two very different approaches to speed.
Yeah. And I'm guessing that their evolution is connected somehow.
You are absolutely right. Pronghorns actually evolved alongside an extinct American cheetah.
Whoa, really? I never knew there were cheetahs in America.
There were.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So you had this constant arms race going on between them, each species pushing the other to become faster and faster.
That's so cool. It's like nature's own high-stakes competition.
Exactly. And it's a great example of how evolution doesn't always favor pure speed. Sometimes stamina and efficiency are the keys to survival.
Makes sense. Okay, so we've got the speed demon of the skies, the sprint champion, and the marathon runner of the land. What about the ocean? Who rules the underwater speed lanes?
In the water, we've got two main contenders, both hitting some seriously impressive speeds.
Lay it on me. Who are they?
The sailfish and the black marlin.
Okay, I've heard of those. But what makes them so fast?
Well, first, think about their body shape. It's all about minimizing drag, like a torpedo slicing through water.
Oh, so they're super hydrodynamic.
Exactly.
Okay, so they've got the shape down. What else?
Their tails, they act like incredibly efficient propellers, generating immense thrust.
So they're basically living torpedoes.
That's amazing. But I remember reading somewhere that sailfish can actually retract their sail.
Yes, that's right.
But why would they do that? I mean, wouldn't it be better to have that sail up all the time for, extra sail power?
It seems counterintuitive, right?
Yeah.
But it all comes down to, minimizing drag.
Oh, I see. So when they need that extra burst of speed, they ditch the sail to become even more streamlined.
Precisely. They sacrifice a little bit of stability for that ultimate speed boost. It's fascinating.
That's, it's like they've got a built-in turbocharger. Okay, so the sailfish is super sleek and efficient. Yeah. What about the black marlin? I mean, they're huge.
Right. But that size translates to power.
Oh, okay.
Their top speed might not be quite as high as the sailfish.
I see.
But their sheer power and the way they use their that crescent-shaped tail to propel themselves through the water is truly remarkable.
Okay, so it's not just about being like aerodynamic. It's also about how you use that power. Absolutely, and that's where the adaptations come in.
So it's like evolution has fine-tuned these creatures to be the ultimate speed machines in their respective environment.
Exactly.
Okay, we've covered land and water. What about the skies?
The skies are full of surprises.
Oh, I bet. Like what?
Well, let's start with a bird that you might not expect to find on the list of speedsters.
Okay, this is already interesting.
The spur-winged goose.
A goose. Really?
Yeah.
I always thought of geese as, kind of slow and clumsy flyers.
I know.
Not exactly the image of speed and grace.
Exactly. But the spur-winged goose, it can reach speeds of up to 68 miles per hour.
No way. So, are they just more aerodynamic than other geese?
They do have a large wingspan for their size,
Okay.
which helps generate lift.
Makes sense.
But they also have incredibly powerful flight muscles.
Oh.
So they can really pump those wings and get moving.
It's like a heavyweight boxer who's surprisingly light on their feet.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay, so that's the surprising speedster of the goose world. What other sky-high surprises do we have?
We have the frigate bird. They are masters of aerial efficiency.
Okay, I think I've heard of those. Aren't they known for, soaring for super long distances?
Yes, they can soar for hours and hours.
Wow.
And they can actually sleep while gliding.
Wait, they sleep while flying?
Yep. It's pretty amazing.
That is incredible.
Yeah. But they can also be surprisingly fast in short bursts. They use thermal currents, kind of like glider pilots, to gain altitude and speed.
So they're like living, breathing gliders.
Exactly. They've truly mastered the art of aerial efficiency.
Okay. I'm officially in awe of the bird world. And now let's not forget about those animals that combine speed with pure power. What about the swordfish with that crazy sword-like bill?
Oh, the swordfish. Like, how fast can they go and how do they use that speed in combination with their built-in weapon?
They can reach speeds of up to 60 miles per hour.
Wow.
And they use that bill to slash and stun their prey. It's like an underwater fencing match. Oh man, I would not want to be on the receiving end of that.
Me neither.
And then there's the lion, the king of the jungle. While not the fastest on land, their power and agility are undeniable.
You're right. Lions might not be built for sustained speed like cheetahs, but they're incredibly powerful and agile for their size.
Yeah.
Their hunting strategy relies on, those bursts of speed
Okay.
combined with incredible strength
I see.
to take down prey much larger than themselves.
It's a reminder that speed isn't everything. It's about how you use it.
Exactly.
And speaking of using speed, we can't forget about those animals that humans have, specifically bred for speed. The quarter horse is a perfect example.
Absolutely. The quarter horse is the result of centuries of selective breeding, specifically for speed over short distances.
So we basically took the concept of fast and cranked it up to 11.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And it's incredible to see how those adaptations have translated into such incredible speed.
Wow. This is already blowing my mind, and I feel like we're just getting started.
Oh, we've got so much more to explore.
I can't wait.
In part 2, we'll delve even deeper into the specific adaptations that give these creatures their speed advantage.
Sounds good. We're back and ready to dive even deeper into the world of animal speed. I'm still amazed by all the incredible creatures we talked about and how they've each evolved their own unique ways of being fast.
Yeah, it's really mind-blowing when you think about it.
Totally. So in this part, let's zoom in on some of those specific adaptations.
Sounds good to me.
It's not just about having powerful muscles, right? It's about all those intricate details that give these speedsters an edge.
Absolutely. It's those little things that can make a huge difference.
Okay, so let's start with the cheetah.
The king of the sprint.
Right. What makes them so incredibly fast? I know they're streamlined and muscular, but is there more to it than that?
Oh, there's definitely more to it. Think about their claws, for instance.
Okay, their claws. What about them?
Well, unlike most cats, a cheetah's claws are only semi-retractable.
Oh, interesting. So they're kind of always out.
In a way, yes. And they act like cleats, providing incredible traction for those lightning-fast accelerations.
Ah, I see. It's like they're wearing track shoes.
Exactly. Built-in traction control.
That's so cool. And what about their flexibility? They always seem so fluid and agile when they're running.
Their flexibility is key to their speed. Their spine is incredibly flexible,
Okay.
which allows for a really long stride.
Oh, So each stride covers more ground.
Exactly. So they're maximizing both their speed and efficiency.
It's like their whole body is designed to like squeeze every ounce of energy out of each movement.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Okay, so that's the cheetah, the sprinter.
Mm-hmm.
What about the pronghorn, the marathon runner of the animal world?
Ah, yes, the pronghorn. They've got their own set of amazing adaptations for endurance.
Like what?
Well, one key adaptation is their enlarged lungs and heart.
Okay, so they can take in more oxygen.
Exactly. It's a supercharged cardiovascular system. That delivers oxygen to their muscles with incredible efficiency.
So they can maintain that high pace without, tiring out as quickly.
Exactly. It's like having a turbocharged engine under the hood.
That's a great analogy. But what about the impact? I mean, running at those speeds for that long must put a lot of stress on their bodies.
That's a good point. And that's where another amazing adaptation comes in their hooves.
Their hooves.
They're specialized to act like shock absorbers, cushioning the impact of each stride.
Oh, wow. So they're minimizing the stress on their joints.
Exactly. It's like they're running on clouds.
Amazing. Okay, let's dive back into the ocean and talk about the sailfish. We touched on the retractable sail earlier, but I'm curious to know more about, how it actually works.
So the sailfish's dorsal fin, that iconic sail, is a marvel of hydrodynamic engineering. When it's fully extended, it acts like a keel on a sailboat.
Okay, providing stability.
Yes, especially at high speeds and when turning.
I see. But then why retract it at all? Wouldn't it be better to just have that stability all the time?
Well, there's a trade-off. When the sailfish needs maximum speed, retracting the sail reduces drag significantly.
Oh, okay. So it's like they're choosing between stability and pure speed.
Exactly, like a Formula One race car adjusting its spoiler for different parts of the track.
That's such a cool analogy. And what about the black marlin? How do they generate such speeds with a body that's basically the size of a small car?
Well, the black marlin speed really comes down to pure power and efficiency. That crescent-shaped tail.
Yeah.
Incredibly strong and generates immense thrust with each beat.
So it's like a finely tuned outboard motor.
Yes. Propelling them through the water with incredible force.
Okay, I'm starting to get a real feel for the physics of speed in the animal kingdom. Each adaptation is like a piece of a high-performance puzzle.
That's a great way to think about it.
Now back to the skies. We talked about the spur-winged goose, that surprisingly fast waterfowl.
Yes, a real underdog in this speed department.
Right. What gives them the ability to fly so much faster than, your average goose?
Well, even though they might seem out of place among these other speedsters, they do have some hidden advantages.
Oh, like what?
Well, their wingspan is surprisingly large for their size, which helps generate lift, and they've got powerful flight muscles.
Ah, okay, so they can really power through the air.
Exactly. They're like a heavyweight boxer who's surprisingly light on their feet.
I love that analogy. And then there's the frigate bird.
Masters of soaring and gliding.
Right. How do they manage to stay aloft for such long periods and still be capable of bursts of speed when they need it?
They're all about energy efficiency. They've really perfected the art of soaring,
Okay.
using thermal currents and wind patterns to stay airborne with very little effort.
So they're like riding the wind?
Exactly. And they can literally sleep while gliding, conserving energy for when they need to, hunt or escape danger.
That's just incredible. They really are like living gliders. Okay, let's switch gears and talk about those animals that combine speed with brute force. Like, what about the swordfish?
The gladiator of the sea.
Right. With that intimidating bill, how do they use their speed and agility in their hunting strategy?
Well, the swordfish is a perfect example of how speed and weaponry can work together.
I see.
They use their speed to chase down schools of fish,
Okay.
and then they use that sword-like bill to slash through the school, stunning or injuring their prey.
So it's not just about catching up to the prey, it's about using speed to create, chaos and confusion.
Precisely. It gives them a huge advantage.
Wow. And what about the lion? How do they use their speed and power to take down, those larger prey animals?
Lions are all about controlled bursts of speed and overwhelming power. They rely on stealth and teamwork
Oh,
to
okay.
get close to their prey, and then they unleash a short burst of speed to close the distance.
I see. So it's a combination of patience, strategy, and then explosive power.
Exactly. And then they use their powerful claws and jaws to bring their prey down.
It's amazing how each animal has adapted its own unique approach to using speed.
It really is.
And speaking of adaptation, we can't forget about the role humans have played, Like with selective breeding, the quarter horse is a perfect example of that.
Absolutely. The quarter horse is basically the result of centuries of selective breeding, specifically for speed over short distances.
It's incredible to think about how we've influenced the evolution of these animals.
Makes you wonder what other amazing adaptations are out there, right? But we can learn from them.
Totally. So what's next? Where do we go from here?
Well, in part 3, we'll take a step back and look at the bigger picture of animal speed, what it tells us about evolution, ecology, and the delicate balance of nature.
And we're back for our final lap around the track, in our exploration of animal speed.
That's right.
It's been such a wild ride. Like, I feel like I've been through speed training myself, just learning about all these incredible creatures.
Well, you certainly accelerated your knowledge of animal speed.
That's for sure. But before we hit the finish line, I'm curious.
Yeah.
What other insights have you uncovered, in your research?
Let's think about the idea of evolutionary trade-offs. Evolution, it's not about creating perfect beings.
Right.
It's about striking a balance.
Okay, so you're saying there are downsides to being super fast.
Exactly.
Like what kind of downsides are we talking about?
Well, take the cheetah, for example.
Okay.
They're the ultimate speedsters, right?
Right.
But that incredible speed, it comes at a price.
Oh, I see.
Because they're so lightweight, they can be injured more easily.
That makes sense.
And their focus on those short bursts,
Yeah.
it really limits their prey options. If they don't catch their prey quickly, they're kind of out of luck.
So it's like a high-risk, high-reward strategy.
Exactly. They're the ultimate gamblers of the savannah.
I like that. The ultimate gamblers.
And then you have the pronghorn.
Right. The marathon runner.
Yeah. They've traded raw speed for endurance, and it's worked out pretty well for them.
It's like choosing between, I don't know, like a sports car and a reliable truck.
That's a perfect analogy.
Each one has its purpose.
Exactly. And that idea applies across the animal kingdom. Think about the sailfish sacrificing maneuverability for pure hydrodynamic efficiency.
Right.
Or the frigate bird, trading some speed for the ability to soar effortlessly for hours on end.
Wow. It's amazing how evolution has fine-tuned each creature to its own little niche.
It is.
But what does all of this tell us, about the bigger picture of speed in nature?
It shows us that speed is only one piece of the puzzle.
Okay.
It's about how that speed works with other traits and behaviors
I see.
to create a successful survival strategy.
So it's not just about being the fastest, it's about being the fastest in the right way.
Yes, for the right reasons.
Wow, that's a really cool way to think about it. And it kind of makes you realize how interconnected everything is, right?
Exactly. The speed of a predator influences the speed of its prey,
Oh, yeah.
which then affects the entire ecosystem.
It's like a chain reaction with speed as the catalyst.
Exactly. And it makes you realize that even small changes in speed can have those ripple effects.
Wow, that's powerful. So as we wrap up this deep dive into animal speed, what's the one key takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
I want them to remember that understanding animal speed isn't just about marveling at their abilities.
Okay.
It's about recognizing how those abilities reflect their evolutionary journey, their ecological role, their place in the grand scheme of things.
Wow. It's a reminder that every creature has a story to tell.
Absolutely.
A story of adaptation and survival and the interconnectedness of all living things.
Beautifully said. And, we have a responsibility to protect those stories. Think about the challenges that animals face today. Habitat loss, climate change, human interference.
Yeah.
It's like the evolutionary race is becoming even more intense.
It is. So what can we do?
We need to protect these creatures and their habitats so they can keep evolving and thriving.
It's a call to action for all of us, right? We can't just sit back and watch. We have to be active in, making sure these amazing animals have a future.
Well said.
Wow. Well, I think that brings us to the finish line of our deep dive into the incredible world of animal speed.
I think so too.
It's been an incredible journey, and I feel like I've gained a whole new perspective on these amazing creatures. Thank you so much for joining us on this wild adventure.
It was my pleasure.
And to all our listeners, remember, the next time you see a hawk swoop down from the sky, or a cheetah sprint across the savannah, or even just a fish dart through the water, take a moment to appreciate the incredible forces that have shaped their speed and grace. Until next time, stay curious.